Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Glink, and the purpose of this video is to talk to you about finding the topic to help you write a main idea and supporting details. So I thought this graphic organizer was pretty cool. At the top you have the topic, which is of course either one or two words that is found throughout the whole text. And that topic is going to be used in your main idea sentence. And the main idea is a statement, so it's a sentence that tells the most important thought about the topic. So this is the question that you want to consider when you're figuring out what the main idea is. You want to ask, what is the author trying to tell me? So they might be telling you that something that is an interesting fact, or they might be trying to convince you of something. So you have to really take into consideration what the text structure is when you're figuring out the main idea. So along with the main idea, you can't write a main idea without making sure that you have supporting details. So these are facts, examples, and details that support and help describe the main idea. So these are like the topic would be like your storm cloud. That's where everything starts. So you can't have a main idea without a topic. So then your main idea is, since that's the overall point the author's trying to make, that would be what's kind of protecting someone from the raindrops. So the raindrops are those little, since there's a bunch of them, when we write our main idea, we have to have enough evidence to support what we're trying to say the main idea is. Because without the main idea, our topic wouldn't make sense, and our main idea wouldn't make sense. So we have to make sure that they're all related to one another. So one of my absolute favorite, I guess you can say, analogies. Analogy is just basically it's a visual that helps you understand something. Is I like to think of a table. So you have the top of your table or your desk, whichever one you want to think of. That would be your main idea. It's the most important point. Notice that you only have one tabletop, or there's only one desktop per desk or per table. So in order to have our main idea supported really well, we have to look at our supporting details. Makes sense, doesn't it? So these details describe or explain the main idea. And they have to be directly connected. So whatever supporting details you have must relate right back to your main idea. These are like the legs of your desk or your table. What was to happen? Let's just say one of your legs gets knocked off. What would happen to the table? Well, you're right. It would fall over. Everything on top of it would fall over because you don't have enough support. Or let's just say you have no legs. Well, then we'd be sitting Japanese style because there would be absolutely zero support for the table. We'd have to sit on the floor. There's nothing to hold up the table. So that's what the supporting details do. They hold up your main idea and make it strong. So before we write a main idea, there's a few things that we need to really consider when it's like our thinking process. So we have to make sure that the topic is only one or two words. We don't want to make it really long. It could be a person's name, it could be a thing, an object, or an animal. We have to write in the most simple form. We don't really want to be wordy when we're writing our main idea. We want to get right to the point. Our details will help us get more specific. We also need to think who or what is the text all about. So who or what, it could be a person or a thing. They have to be nouns though. That's an important thing. They have to be a noun of some sort. And when you're thinking of a topic specifically, it's usually repeated. So it's a word that you see over and over and over again in text. So examples of topics might be bikes, computers, my sister, plants, circus tricks. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. So in order to practice finding the topic and main idea, I found some interesting passages for us to read. And as soon as I pick a different color, here we go. So let's read this text together. It says, Wilbur and Orville Wright were brothers who were inventors, even from a young age, when they built kites and bicycles. Many people credit the Wright brothers with designing and building the first successful airplane. In 1903, their first flight only lasted 12 seconds, but it continues to inspire people all over the world to learn about science and math, to work hard to realize their dreams, and to use imagination to achieve success. So here's the question. What, I'm using the cup strategy, is the main idea of this passage? So before we figure out the main idea, we need to find the topic. So remember, that's a word or phrase that's repeated over and over and over. And it might be repeated in different ways. So I'm going to scan through the text and see if I can find a word that's repeated over and over. I notice it gives me a lot of details about Wilbur and Orville Wright. So let's see if there's any other words. Let's see here. They're brothers who were inventors, even from a young age. Many people credit, here's the Wright brothers again, with designing and building the first successful flight airplane. Let's see, in 1903, now there, remember, see, it's E-I-R, so that there refers to a person or people, and it's, in this case, the Wright brothers. Let's see here. It continues to inspire people all around the world to work hard. Okay, so I don't see any other words or phrases that deal with Wilbur and Orville Wright, but this is the only word or phrase that I see is really being talked about. So in my topic, I am going to write Wilbur and Orville. And I need to spell it correctly. So let's spell it correctly. I need to remember I can't talk and write at the same time. Okay, so in my main idea, I need to make sure that I use the phrase Wilbur and Orville Wright. So I have to think, what is it really trying to tell me? So I notice it's talking, this is where I need to find my supporting details. I know it's talking a lot about they were inventors. Let's actually use a different color. They're inventors, and let's see here. Oh, they designed and built the first successful airplane, and they inspire people and realize their dreams and achieve success. So it looks like they're talking a lot about how Orville and Wilbur Wright were great inventors, but more importantly, what's it really trying to tell us? It's really trying to tell us that Wilbur and Orville Wright were very inspirational. They inspired people to be the best and to work hard. So I'm going to go with that, so I'll write it real quick. So here's my main idea. Wilbur and Orville Wright, that's my topic, inspired people to work hard. Notice I didn't go into any details. I didn't explain what they did specifically. It has to be more of a general statement. So just for the sake of space, I didn't add, I only added a few supporting details at the bottom here, but I put it in a different color so you could see. I put they designed and built the first airplane and helped people learn to realize their dreams. So that's directly connected to my main idea up here. So I have a shorter little text right here that I thought it'd be really fun to read. So it says, let's read together. I have a dog whose name is Paco. He's almost 10 years old. Paco is a very lovable with a brown face and short black fur. He is one of my best friends. He plays with me, sleeps with me, and goes on walks with me. I am so glad to have him around. I love him. So what is the main idea of this passage? Well, let's find the topic. I notice right away it's mentioning a dog. But even more specifically, since it says the dog's name, I would definitely make sure that if you're given a specific name, I would use that instead of just saying dog. But so we know it's a boy dog. Here's Paco. He again. He and him. So it's using a lot of pronouns to describe the dog. So the topic was pretty easy to find. It's Paco. But now we need to find what the main idea is. So what's it really trying to tell us about Paco? Well, I noticed it's giving lots of details about what he looks like, what he does. And I noticed at the bottom, the last sentence says, I love him. So I can bet for sure that this topic or this passage is really talking about reasons why this person thinks Paco is the best dog ever. So I'm going to write Paco is a great I decided not to go with great because that's more overused word. So let's just say Paco is a wonderful pet. So now we need to support it. So we're going to find some details that support it. So I noticed that he's very lovable. That definitely supports that he's wonderful. I'm not going to put details about what he looks like because that doesn't really describe, it just describes what he looks like. It doesn't describe why he loves him. He is one of my best friends. He plays with him, sleeps on him, and goes on walks. And he's glad to have him around. So I just added as supporting details, he's very lovable. One of the persons, and I put that because we don't know if this is written from a boy or girl's perspective, plays, sleeps with his owner, and goes on walks. So the last thing we're going to read is this passage right here. So let's read it together. Hurricanes are large, intense storms that begin over the ocean, where they gather heat and energy from the water. Hurricanes move slowly toward land, usually moving 10 to 20 miles per hour for more than 1 week. The most dangerous part of the hurricane is the storm surge, when it reaches land and causes flooding. Wind and waves also contribute to the damage caused by these surges. So, one thing I want you to notice, so I know that, first of all, is this a fiction or nonfiction? Well, you're right. It would be nonfiction. It's true. So I want you to think, what is the main topic going to be? So what do you see repeated over and over again? Well, yeah, I agree. I see hurricanes. It looks like it's mostly talking about what hurricanes do because I see that word repeated over and over. So here's my topic. So since my topic is hurricanes, I need to find and use that in my main idea sentence. So what is the author trying to tell us about hurricanes? It's definitely giving us a lot of facts, but maybe these details will help us. We notice that they're large and intense storms. It's talking about a dangerous part of the hurricane. And, flooding. It causes flooding. And, contribute means adds to, contributes to the damage caused. So it's causing damage. Good cause and effect text right there. So I have to say, and you probably agree with me, that's really trying to tell us that hurricanes can cause a lot of damage. Looks like there's a lot of really good supporting details for that. Now you notice I changed from hurricanes cause a lot of damage to hurricanes are dangerous. I decided that that would be better because it's not really talking about the damage until the end. However, from the beginning to the middle to the end, it does mention ways that they can cause danger. So that's just one way that, when you're trying to think of what could be the main idea, it's okay to start writing one thing and to change your mind. Because that's all part of your brain is trying to process what's going on and what you're trying to what's this topic really trying to tell us? What's this passage really trying to say? So now, those things that I underlined in the text, I can write as supporting details. So here's my completed main idea and supporting details. Hurricanes are dangerous. They are large and intense, can cause flooding, and wind and waves cause damage. So we were able to support, I would say, a good rule of thumb, as long as you have your topic, which is the word repeated over and over, or phrase. If your main idea includes that word or phrase and just gets straight to the point of what the author's trying to tell you, and have at least 2, 3 is better, supporting details, then you have a strong main idea and supporting details.